The last thing that I wanted to say on this issue is the other day. So just to, and actually, this is going to sound bearish. I actually think it's incredibly bullish, but that's just me. But the other day, Toby won Hexobi, which popular on Matty Allen's obviously stream, which he does tonight, usually like right now. He's on there quite frequently. Toby is, and he had a poll the other day where he said like, how many X's do you think Pulse will do if the case were dismissed? I don't know if he said like this month or when it is dismissed, or I think he may have meant like now on this timeline, which would have made sense for a poll question. And by far of the options that he gave, he had like no pump at all, will pump in the bull market, 2 to 5x immediately off of the news. I forget the third option. I'm guessing some like a little bit higher than that. And then he had a 10x. The majority of the votes went to a 10x in a pulse price pump if it were dismissed. I mean, I think that is ridiculous. I mean, I just can't even, and I'm not saying anything to do with like Pulse's recent performance or anything like that. You guys are giving the SEC too much credibility. Like what Thomas said a minute ago. No one gives a shit about this. Like, I don't even see anybody talking about this. There's nobody, I don't see hardly anybody that's, afraid, and maybe that's the point. Maybe you can't see them or whatever, but nobody looks at this as if it's an issue, really. I just think the thought of doing a 10x off of the case being dismissed is ludicrous. I could see something like a 2x, like right off the news, and then it, retracing, because I don't give any credibility to this lawsuit. I don't give any credibility to the SEC. It's never had any bearing on what I thought about it. Sure, it makes the chart look different at different times, but I still think we'd be where we are. I don't think that it matters. So I know you called me out whenever you saw my response to the results on that tweet, but what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I said 2 to 5. That was my response, I believe, to the poll. Yeah, I think it would have an immediate effect. And, see it or not, there is definitely a chilling effect that has been created. But I think the people that have been here, the people that have been around long enough to know, realize what's going on and aren't really concerned about it. It's the newbies. It's the people that we need, the outside money to get in, that are still a little bit leery of it, because when they do any kind of research, they may be one of the things that they find, and they don't know what's going on. They don't know there's a powerhouse team of lawyers. They don't know that Richard is kind of battling for all of crypto. They don't know the backstory of Hex and how that came about. And there's just so many things. They don't know that he is a self-help author that's written books to help you quit smoking and quit gambling and, give better apologies and things like. There's a lot to it, right? That people just don't know. So I think there's a lot of outside forces that would be affected, that would come in. But I don't think it would be a 10x right away. But I think it would. I think it would definitely catapult it a little bit faster than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think it would be a sell the news event. I mean, I wouldn't sell, obviously. I don't mean it like that, but I think we would see a huge green candle right off of the news, but I think we would, slightly retrace it over a few days. I mean, yeah, there'd be exuberance and stuff like that, but I don't. Nobody really seems to think that it's much of a threat, so I just don't think there'll be much more.
Or you get one of those god candles that just blow everything out of the water, and it never comes back. Because I know Hex had one of those at one point, one of those candles where it just took off and it never looked back. So it's a possibility. I don't give it, maybe 30% odds of that happening, but it's definitely a possibility.
I think if that were to happen, it would have to be a later time frame where that could be something that's going to happen anyway around that time, and maybe that news just could go with it, maybe. But yeah, KD says I agree, 2 to 5x, and then an immediate dump to sack rate. I mean, I don't know about what price it'll be, but in terms of like immediate response, that's just my thoughts. But Yeah, I just have never taken it seriously. So,
Yeah.
anyway.